The stalwart patrons say their names with reverent pride.
Welcome to the Tyrannicon arcade at a key point. I mean, you'll love it. This is my new beast that I just got. The original Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition American cab, which is kind of similar to the cabs that we got here in the UK, which we call Electricon Goliath and stuff. But this has been brought back to life by means of a secret rite. The unmistakable superior scanline picture of the original thing. The camera doesn't do it key justice. This is a Japanese candy cab. So I never saw one of these when I was a kid. It's called the Astro City. I got a second one because there's so many vertical games that are really good. And you don't want to play them with massive borders on either side. This is Samus Thomas Wave 1. And then I wanted this because I wanted an original cabinet like what I grew up with, not like a Japanese one which I'd never seen in my life till I got one of them. So inside this is the actual Street Fighter 2 arcade board. So you have to actually put money into the cab. Only 10p. And these two are main PCs inside. So we take a simple 10p and we plug it in, inserting now. And now you can play it. We have a story of Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition here. Well, look at the unmistakable scanline key picture. The picture on the Astro City here is probably the best one of the three. So when we open it up, you see inside here, can't really make it out, but that's a small PC hooked up to a thing called a jammer harness, which is this thing here, which is in every arcade pretty much. And that's what the arcade boards, which are basically just giant cartridges, plug into. And this is like a custom built PC with every single arcade game pretty much ever made. But don't get like a MAME ROMs unless you own the original arcade board. And of course I own every single arcade board ever made, of course, the original. I just don't want to keep unplugging them and plugging them in. The Japanese ones, the control panel open up simply, and you can adjust all the contrast and the size of the picture and so forth. Change the buttons and the sticks if you want. It's the same in this one. On this cab is a thing called Hyperspin, where you can scroll through the games and they've got like artwork to go with them and stuff like that. So we got a series of exciting games. G.I. Joe, Real American Hero, Marvel vs. Capcom. Simply select the game and it boots up. And then you see an unmistakable picture that's quite unsurpassed. You haven't really seen these games until you see them again on the proper monitors. You play them on a HD with emulators, you're missing out, they look so. Like, even though I already had those two cabs, I only now feel like I've got an arcade machine with that, because that's the kind of cabs I grew up with. So this is now my new favorite one, simply because it really looks like a real arcade machine to me. It's too big, it looks kind of stupid in the living room, but what can you do? The control panel for that comes off by going inside the coin mech. It's an annoying release, it's like really fiddly, so I can't bother doing it. But inside is the original giant circuit board of Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition. It's funny to think that these were once cutting edge technology, now you can fit them on your mobile phone, every single one of these games. But they have to be experienced on their original cab, and they still have the ability to astound beyond modern games. You can see that, can't you? So going down to the Tyrannicon arcade. It's only £10 every 10 minutes, and you can play what you want. It's a bargain to relive your youth. So yeah, here's my office that I work at this key point. Got for a few more things since I last made a video on it. including a Master System 2, which was the first console I ever got, so I rebought that out of nostalgia, picking up the hunk of junk. We got hold of the PlayStation. That box was the original PlayStation box that I had. A good old Mega Drive. Got myself a Neo Geo AES, which is the most expensive console ever, and it's still ridiculously expensive because it's so kind of rare and stuff. And the big arcade sticks that come with it, and the huge ass cartridges. I got myself an Amiga 1200. And I got myself an NES. Yeah, so it's in pretty good nick, and the light gun still works and stuff. If you play it on this, which is my kind of pride and joy CRT, this Bang & Olufsen. He's playing Daytona on the Dreamcast. I got two Dreamcasts. I got that one that still runs discs. There's the disc. And I got that one which plays SD card, you know, which is just easier in case the disk drive breaks. There's a PS2 in there. I got I got three PS2s. That one plays PS1 games and has them all on a hard drive. That one has all PS2 games on a hard drive. And I've got my original PS2. And under there's the NES. And the Dreamcast controller is still kind of an abomination of a controller. Really uncomfortable. It had that little weird screen with it, which was innovative at the key time. There's a original English Sega Saturn, Sega Rally. I started to briefly start collecting original games. There's the Japanese Super Nintendo Final Fight. So there's the Master System 2. I used to think this was kind of cool. The original Master System looks like someone out of Star Wars 1 Death Star. So the 2 looked a bit better. There's the Mega Drive, better than the Genesis, the ugly American version of the Mega Drive. And there's the Super Nintendo with Final Fight in it. The two 16-bit powerhouses are the complete point. This is the Xbox One controller that met its match, being thrown at a wall, playing the abysmal Resi 6 on a stream. I mean, can you believe it? 50 quid for that cheap crap. Should be able to handle being thrown. There's a Japanese version of Streets of Rage. It's called Bird Knuckle in Japan. They have way better box art. So yeah, this is a Neo Geo cartridge box. It's enormous. It cost about 70 quid too. The rarest Saturn game ever. Worth about $1,000. Is this the original copy? Original disc? Who knows? So yeah, I briefly started collecting games and amassed this pathetically small collection. See, these 4 Master System games were I owned about 20 Master System games as a kid, and we sold them all. This is a weird one called Aztec Adventure, and the box art for Master Systems was hideous, repulsive. But even these are still like 10 quid each now if you want them boxed. I used to love this rubbish game, Vigilante, when I was a kid. I think because I wanted to be a vigilante in a way. Looks like Elvis. That guy looks happy to being punched, like he's sexually getting off on it. The Master System version of Golden Axe only had him in it, one player. I'm kind of psyched. Meanwhile, the Mega Drive version, this is a Japanese version. Look how much cooler that box art is. Kind of exquisite. Dynamite Duke, the Japanese version. Looks like Dolph Lundgren. I played the arcade version of this on a Retro Rage, if you remember, where this flame guy kept phoning me. And the Japanese Alien Storm box is cool too. Anyway, I started collecting these games very briefly. You know, these are the UK boxes. Pretty boring compared to the Japanese. And they're so expensive. I only managed to get 4 Neo Geo games before I was like, this is too expensive. They came from Japan. And they cost a fortune. If you want like some of these Neo Geo games, they're like 600 quid. most of them and stuff, and it's just not worth it. And very quickly my collection I thought, what the hell am I doing this for? This is a waste of money. But that's the original Japanese X-Men vs. Street Fighter. I used to own this too. Sold all my old stuff like a moron. It's all worth a ton now. I had it all in perfect condition as well. The only Super Nintendo English version of anything I got is All Stars. Again, I had tons of Super Nintendo games, all perfectly boxed like this, and we gave them to my cousins and they've destroyed them. All that was left is we found in the basement at my nan's a dusty old knackered version of Jurassic Park cartridge. My PlayStation 2 collection's not bad just because they're only like £1 each, so they're real cheap. But look how boring the spines are of the UK versions. They're American, those three. Look how better the American spines are. Once again, the UK inept. Original Game Boy. Some Japanese Sega Saturns, because they're not that expensive, some of them. And a very few British original Dreamcast. Again, I had tons of Dreamcast games in original boxes like this. Now they're worth a fortune. And I had Shenmue 1 and 2 all boxed and everything. But yeah, I'm done collecting already though. This pathetically small collection is it. Good old PS1. We had these much bigger boxes in the UK to have the massive manuals. I just quickly bought a bunch of the ones that I kind of owned. I still didn't get all of them, but a bunch of them. Although I still actually had Final Fantasy VII. This is my original copy. This is Carrie, a very giving cat. Aren't you? I got her a couple of months ago from a rescue centre. We had already named her Carrie, and I couldn't come up with a better name, so I thought, fuck it, Carrie. And she keeps bringing me gifts like hats and gloves that she finds around the house, and meowing to tell me how great these gifts are. You're a very giving cat, aren't you? And I told her she might be the most giving cat of all time. Let's talk about this, the Bang & Olufsen. I got it from a guy on eBay for about 100 quid. And it was a, only had 20 hours use on it when I got it. It's got these giant stupid speakers underneath it, which means I had to get this whole massive stand to put it on, otherwise it was too tall for the desk. But the picture is fantastic. This other TV I got here is a PVM, a professional video monitor. It's more expensive, it was like 350 quid. Like the best ever CRT TVs. Well, second best. The best is a BVM, a broadcast video monitor. The picture on this thing is just as good as the Bang & Olufsen. In fact, it's probably better. But it's a slightly smaller screen, so I don't play on it much. As you can see, the picture's kind of unmistakable there too. I'm gonna get around to playing this game on the PS2, the Fist of the North Star game. It's a fighting game. I'm a big Fist of the North Star fan. So yeah, it's a retro gaming nerd's wet dream, this office. And it's all tax deductible. This is why I work every day. It keeps me immersed in retro games, which I much prefer to the modern game industry, which has gone down the toilet in my opinion. And you'll agree with me if you get yourself a setup like this. If you take yourself back to these old systems, you'll see they were unsurpassed in a way that modern games aren't. You know you will. What the fuck? I don't think I can be bothered anymore. All this way back every fucking time. This game is trash right now. I've had enough of this, I think, people.